r/AskReddit, what famous place is not worth visiting? Me, an Egyptian, ah shit, here we go again. Times Square on New Year's Eve. Just forget it. It has never been worth it. In 3rd grade, a meteor crashed in the backyard of a kid's house in my neighborhood. He talked about it every day at school and said people weren't allowed to see because NASA was collecting samples. A few days later he said we could go see, but everyone had to pay $5. Me and a few friends paid him and went over his house later that day. When we got to the backyard, we saw a 3-foot deep hole that was clearly dug by a shovel. We called him out on it and he said something like, "That's where it landed, but the scientists dug around it with shovels to take samples." Worst $5 I've ever spent. I have no idea where you are nowadays, but fuck you, Benji. Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's a sidewalk and outside of maybe big events where they may clean the ones around where photos may be taken. It otherwise is just covered in dirt from people's shoes, and some are barely legible because they haven't been cleaned in ages. Plymouth Rock in Plymouth, Ma. It's literally just a small rock. Hollywood Walk of Fame, dirty ass street with cheap shops and homeless everywhere. Only nice spot was near the theater. I work close to Times Square in Manhattan. If you have an ad blocker on your computer, you will hate Times Square. Niagara Falls is a really cool sight, but it's not worth a trip if you're staying on the American side. The Canadian side is way better and has more things to do. Land's End, UK. Heralded as the 4th most disappointing attraction in the UK. It's not even disappointing enough to win an award. Edit, I mean the landmark in Cornwall, not a clothing store. Deary me. You can see MT Rushmore perfectly fine from the road. No need to pay to see it. Egypt. It's like if phone scams were a materialized location. You get there and right away the airport is going to start scamming you, take your electronics away and tell you that you need permits for them, which they will gladly sell you, and then tell you that it's the wrong one and have you buy another one. The hotel you stay at will check your bags again like the airport did and again tell you that you need permits or whatever random thing they decide they can get away telling you needs one. The police will extort money from you if they think they can. Fake police will come up to you and fine you or tell you to follow them to different sites where they will charge you. Children will run up to you and ask if you want to ride their camel very aggressively. They will cut you off with their camel and not let you move forward, tell you it's free, and then try to charge you insane amounts of money and call their camel pimp over to deal with you if you don't pay. If you don't get on the camel, they will often even get the camel to attack you. It's all pretty wild, it's not worth it. Egypt, they treat tourists like garbage. While the Louvre is amazing and can consume entire days of walking, don't bother fighting the crowds to see the Mona Lisa. It's tiny and has a crowd of tourists dozens deep all taking pictures. No flash photography be damned, so all you see is flash reflecting off the protective glass. Also, rumor has it that the real Mona Lisa is in a basement and that the one you see is just a very convincing replica. According to this thread, never go to Egypt, Hollywood, and Dubai. Noted. Plymouth Rock. I don't know how famous it really is outside of New England, but it's a rock that marks where the Pilgrims supposedly first landed in Massachusetts. It is quite literally just a medium-sized rock with 1620 carved in it, but every elementary school teacher around Massachusetts at least hypes it up for the class field trip to see a literal rock that is not big, impressive, or really historically relevant. Driving an hour on a bus to see this was the most anticlimactic thing, and I would not particularly recommend. Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts. Despite all the rage, it's still just a rock in a cage. Dubai is a twisted parody of everything wrong with modern society, and I judge anyone who goes there for their Insta pics. Edit, grammar because I used there like a fool. And also thank you for silver. Checkpoint Charlie in Berlin. It used to be the border between the US and Soviet sectors, but all that's left of it is a shack and a sign, and the only thing you can do is pay to get your photo taken with someone in uniform. There's a frickin' McDonald's next to it. Leaning Tower of Pisa, just a small town without much going on, then a ton of tourists pretending to hold it up. Go to Florence instead. Dubai. Lanfair PWLLGWYNGYLL Gagari CHWYRN Silio Gogo Gotch in Wales. Nothing there except an Edinburgh Wallen Mills shop. Which is just silly as Edinburgh is nearly 300 miles away. Mall of America. It's literally just a giant mall with the same stores as a small mall. Sometimes even the same store twice. Maybe less famous than the question meant, but about 15 years ago my friends and I took a road trip to Centralia, Pennsylvania, the abandoned town with a decades-long mine fire burning under it that the Silent Hill movie was loosely based on. We thought there would be tons of abandoned buildings to look at, creepy places to see, adventure to be had. We were so excited, and we were like 6 or 7 hours away, so it sounded like a fun trip. We got there, and there was just nothing. All of the buildings are gone. The creepiest thing we found was a very well taken care of cemetery, and the only really abandoned thing to see was the stretch of interstate that had been rooted around, which had a little bit of fun graffiti on it back then, but in years since it's become just a giant paint stain. We ended up driving to Gettysburg instead and going on some ghost tours, so it was still a fun trip, but there was like nothing to see in Centralia, at all. Edit. Whoa. This blew up. They're pretty awful, but I have an old album of photos from when we went in 2006, I think. Hollywood. I don't mean in the colloquial sense, but rather the actual neighborhood. The neighborhood includes the Walk of Fame and the Chinese Theater. The neighborhood is sketchy, dirty, filthy, disorganized, high crime, and just plain icky, and has been that way since at least the 1950s. The absolute worst period was from the mid-1970s to the mid-1990s, but the neighborhood just sucks less today. Hell, there's a big reason that the residents of West Hollywood literally seceded from any association with the Hollywood community, and formed their own municipality in 1984. There are plenty of fun entertainment industry-related things to do throughout the Los Angeles area, in Hollywood as the world understands it. Just not Hollywood proper. Hollywood, it's seedy and disappointing. It's full of entire industries, Scientology that take advantage of starry-eyed twits. Hollywood. I took a trip while I was stationed in California and it was the most absolute disgusting place I've ever seen. Besides the homelessness issue there, you'll find trash all over the streets and sketchy businesses, liquor stores, souvenir shops, etc. I'm sure when there's a big event going on, the city cleans up for a day, but it just looked like shit when I went. The Liberty Bell. You can see it just fine from the sidewalk, and that's about as close as you would get to it inside too. No need to spend money, wait in line to see it. Plus, there's tons to do in Philly besides look at a bell. Edit. I've been informed that it's free. Last time I was there, I was a child, so my memory is a bit hazy. Stonehenge. Sorry UK folks. I love you and I love the UK, but 5 minutes at Stonehenge is enough. Edit. Okay, I might have been exaggerating when I said 5 minutes is enough. I do appreciate the history and significance of it. So maybe 30 minutes is more reasonable. Cairo. Monacan pies in Brussels. So tiny and bonus with a lot of people hiding the sight. The only fun part is that he's dressed differently at points. Venice during the season. Good God, the place is crushed with people. You can hardly move at certain times and you are always bumping into folks. Other places with the same problem during the season/summer. Yellowstone, Yosemite, Zion, and any amusement park. Egypt and the pyramids. I'm surprised I haven't seen this on the list, but The Little Mermaid in Copenhagen. I seen it while we were there and it was incredibly underwhelming. If there was a lineup at all I would have skipped it for sure. Plymouth Rock. It's a rock surrounded by a cage with a date on a shitty cold beach. That's it? No, you can't touch it. The Blarney Stone. You have to hang upside down to kiss it, which is very uncomfortable. Can confirm, have kissed it, and, according to my cousin who lives in Cork, 15 km away, the locals will sneak it at night and piss on it to fuck with the Americans. ETA, okay, I was swiping on my phone too fast. Blarney Stone. ETA 2, locals confirm they're just taking the piss on us when they tell us they piss on it. Rolling on the floor laughing. Miami in summer. Way too hot to go outside. Boring city, beach quite far away if you stay in the city. Too many idiots in Miami Beach. And horrible traffic. Platform 9 3/4 in King's Cross Station, London. Stupid metal statue on a straight wall, a horrible queue to taking a photo with you on it, and another 100-meter long queue to the small and very expensive Harry Potter shop. I was there middle of the day in off-season, don't want to even think about it on high season. Atlantic City. Monopoly got me good. The Mona Lisa within the Louvre. Don't get me wrong, that museum is incredible, but the Mona Lisa is so lame and underwhelming and you have to wait so long to see it. Not worth it at all, Imo. Dubai. Yes, the entirety of Dubai. It forces labor by stealing passports of individuals who work there. The Grand Canyon. Just kidding. It's fantastic, and if there's one place that encompasses the beauty and vastness of the American West, it's a sunrise sitting at the edge of that canyon. It is absolutely awe-inspiring. A lot of these comments are tourists telling tourists places to avoid tourists. Not necessarily super famous, but it's right next to the most visited national park in the country, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That town is an overpriced tourist trap dump designed to suck your wallet dry. You'll pay $10 for a shitty iron-on t-shirt. My advice, drive straight through and go to the mountains, the difference is like night and day. Sherlock Holmes house on Baker Street in London. Of course I love Sherlock Holmes, so as a tourist I took the tour. Not far into walking around the house it dawned upon me. This is a fake set of a fictional character. What am I doing here? The Alamo. There's no basement. New Orleans on any sort of holiday weekend. The moon. No atmosphere. Edit, thanks for the upvotes and an award. I fully admit it's a dad joke, but as a dad and granddad what can you expect? Besides, the old ones are the best face with tears of joy. If you want to learn about local culture, don't visit famous places. Boston. It's a great place to visit, I just don't want you here. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's the armpit of South Carolina. These answers are like as a person of Reddit. Never leave home. Not the Louvre, but the Mona Lisa specifically. You're in a room full of assholes just like yourself, constantly trying to snap a picture of a painting that's smaller than a movie poster. Underwhelming is about the kindest description I can manage. Dubai. A fake city built by slaves. Golden Palace, you have to line up for hours to get inside or just stay outside being bored for 2 hours. Edit, I meant the Golden Temple, I just got confused. Times Square. Pike's Place, with the Starbucks. I live here and have lived here for my whole life and promise you all it's the same as every other Starbucks, including the one right around the corner. Edit, I'm sorry for spelling Pike wrong, My autocorrect sucks. Forgive me, Reddit loudly crying face, you lot are mean, but it's fair because I'm an idiot. The Alamo is surprisingly small, right smack dab in a busy downtown area, and can be fully experienced in 5 minutes. Also, it doesn't have a basement. Camelot. It is a silly place. I think that most places you go, short of the murdery ones, if you take time to research cultural customs, history, the best time for you to visit, the places the locals go with the intent to appreciate the culture and the people, not the ones who are paid to be nice to you, and realize that nowhere is perfect, you can enjoy just about anywhere. I've heard a lot of people shit on New Orleans, but the culture is incredible, if you take time to talk to people and learn history. I was there with kids, and not during Mardi Gras, so had the blessing of not getting drowned in vomit and screaming. Parties aren't my jam, and I loved it. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed this video and subscribe to never miss an upload.